This is the Pro Bike check for Kirt Voreis. Kirt Voreis is an ex-downhill racer turned Instagram superstar, turned mountain bike ambassador and freeride, I guess you call him. King of good times on a mountain bike, and he rides for Niner, and this is the RIP 9 RDO. The same bike's actually that myself and Blake rode in Patagonia. This is the 29er version. So if you know who Kirt is and you follow him on Instagram, it might be slightly surprising that he's running the 29er version, because this bike is now available in the small wheel size as well. That bike is actually in the back of Kirt's van that he's going to be racing the dual slalom at Seatpost on, but most of the time Kirt rides this 29er. The RIP 9 RDO is a 140mm travel bike, and he's actually bumped it up to a 160 on the front with that Rockshox Lyrik to slacken the bike out. Kirt's running it in the high BB setting, so you've got a decent BB height, but also the bike is slacking out that fork, of course. You've got a Rockshox Super Deluxe coil shock on the rear, so you don't see many of these with coils on. It's got a 400-pound spring, so nice and supple off the top with the coil shock, so that first bit of travel is super sensitive. Full SRAM components on this bike, so up to the bars we've got the Descendant bars, and they are about 29 inches wide. That's approximately 780mm, so quite wide. Got the Guide Ultimate brakes, they're trail brakes. Some people do go up spec, maybe put a code on, but Kirt thinks that the Guides are perfectly capable. So XO1 components or drivetrain throughout as well, so that 1x12, got the shifter up there. Got that Rockshox Reverb with that sort of paddle shifter underneath that matches the feel of that gear shifter as well. Sensus grips on this bike, to me they feel super narrow, literally sort of a hand's width, but I guess that's all you need, feels super cool. Got that sort of free ride setup. We've got the front brake hose that goes up through the steer tube out there to that front brake caliper, and also the rear brake hose and the shifter sort of tape together. So Kirt does bar spins, and that keeps everything working, so the front brake hose isn't going to get caught in the frame when he does that, and these don't get tangled at all. Of course, you've then got to spin it back the other way, no gyro or anything like that on this bike. Also got one of these Rockshox sort of head clamps, so instead of having a Starfangle nut in the head tube, these just clamp top and bottom, and the brake hose goes in through there, and you can tighten your headset and run that brake hose through the steer tube. The 160mm Rockshox Lyrik fork up front, it's the RC2 model, so you've got the high and low speed compression up there. You've got rebound control, of course, got that debonair as well. So a big fork, super capable. 29-inch wheels, of course. These are the DT Swiss EX1501 in the 30mm width. Kirt's running the Maxxis Minion DHF front and rear, so that's a bit of a classic setup. You see that on a lot of pros bikes, run the DHF, because obviously they do a DHR as well, so rear specific tyre. A lot of pros run the front tyre on the front and back. 29er, they're 2.5 wide in that 3C, so 3 different types of rubber compound on these tyres, and they're super hard. Kirt runs about 36 to 38 PSI in his tyres, just so they take those big tricks, anything like spinning tricks, 360s, you need a hard tyre so it doesn't pop off. Tubeless setup as well. So full SRAM drivetrain, XO1, you've got that 1150 12-speed cassette, 34 tooth chainring on the front with the XO1 cranks, well, the carbon fibre ones. Crankbrothers Stamp pedals in the large version with some big pins in there as well, so super grippy. So Kirt, you've ridden a lot of bikes in your time. You raced downhill World Cup for quite a long time, and now you're on a 29er, maybe a bike that I wouldn't see you riding, to be fair. Yeah. What do you think of the big wheels for doing the tricks and things you do now?
Well, it's funny, when the 29 first came out, I was just like, yeah, this is a little, you know, at first I thought a little overkill, just because there wasn't good tires and things like that, and, you know, the geometries weren't right. And then as they started to progress, I've played a little bit more on them with companies I rode for, and then when I got on the 9er, I liked how short the rear ends were and the performance of the bike. It was actually built around a 29er wheel, so you know, the more I rode it, it just fit me, and with my size and everything, my inseam, I just seemed to feel real comfortable on it. Plus, I like when you whip them, you can just lay into everything. Yeah. And that's the best part about it, is when on 26, I'd get so rowdy on stuff that you ended up crashing, and this you can really just give it all, you know, and it hooks up.
And I think they work really well, the 29-inch wheels for like this, you know, it's sort of trail enduro bike, makes them super capable for going fast. but also the type of riding you do, some of the more trick style stuff, you find that works really well as well?
You know, it does. People ask me, you know, about doing bar spins and stuff, and if it's a little bit harder, but with a 2.5 wheel and everything, the weight is there, and it actually spins really quick. I feel like I can spin a bar spin easier on this than I can on my little 26 bike, just because I know it's going to be consistent. Like with a lighter wheel or, you know, a smaller wheel, it just seems like you have to make sure that that spin gets there. But it's all right, you know, if you just commit to it, it happens.
Yeah. Was it a surprise to you when Niner said we're thinking about making a 27.5 bike?
Yeah, well, I figured they'd get a lot of flack for it, for sure, like on the comments. But, you know, I think it's one of those things that if you have the market and it's needed, you might as well, you know, even if your name is kind of doesn't represent it, it still represents bicycles. And, you know, I mean, they're still going to, it's still going to get the person out on the bike and having fun. So might as well fill that market. So
now that they've released a 27.5 bike, did you feel like you wanted to jump down onto that and that become the one bike you rode the most?
Yeah, you know, I rode that bike a little bit last year in the Speed and Style. So I did have some time on the 27.5. But like I said, I just might, the 29, I just feel a lot more confident on it. And I know all the points. And I do like the 27.5, and I'll probably use it more for if I'm shooting photos or filming, stuff like that, because I can get a little bit, you know, the 360s, things like that are a little bit easier on it. But for a bike that I'm just going to grab and go out and just enjoy, the 29ers are going to be my go-to.
What about going back, let's say you think of your, you know, your World Cup downhill bike, a 26-inch wheel bike.
Yeah.
Do you think you could ride faster downhill on this bike now than on those old downhill bikes?
For sure, yeah. I get on a 140, yeah, for sure. I mean, even if it was a 120, you could still, the tires just don't hang up, you know, you just don't get that lag in those rough sections. And yeah, I would, especially if the track was already worn out for a 26, yeah, right. Then you got on a 29, all the holes would be so much smaller and just blaze through them. So, you know, and I think about that, I'm like, man, if I had this, you know, I might have got second, probably. I would have got beat anyways.
Cool, cheers Kurt. If you want to see these bikes ridden in Patagonia by myself and Blake, click over there for that video.
Yeah, and if you like this bike, give it a like, click it.
Thumbs up, hit that subscribe button.
Thumbs up, subscribe.